A historically bad year, yet again, for movie theater owners desperately clinging to life and hoping to pop popcorn for audiences that no longer hearken their doors. And it seems that it is indeed Hollywood's fault. Folks, we're here to tell you a seismic shift may be on the way. Theaters going away. And we'll tell you the terrible numbers right now. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, the place where we explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. And folks, we hate to be the bearer of bad news, but movie theater owners are feeling the blues. And not just the blues, folks, this is flat out a crisis now. We've been talking about this for over a year, that theater owners need help. And Hollywood is not there to help them. Hollywood is not giving them the kind of stuff that drives audiences in enough to keep them going. Folks, we may be looking at truly, all across our great lands, theaters closing in the next couple of years en masse. It is something we take no joy in. And some people out there say, Pro, why do you guys cover Disney so negatively sometimes? Why do you cover Hollywood so negatively? Folks, if this was 10 years ago, I would be singing a different tune because Hollywood was in tune with audiences. What we have been doing here is decrying that they are trying to destroy cinemas, entertainment. Folks, we're here to protect it. Today we've got a panel we want to bring on folks out there who are members of this great channel, who are weighing in on why they think movie theaters are in deep trouble and what might be done to fix it. This one out of the Hollywood Reporter by Pamela McClintock, who we greatly enjoy. What happened to $100 million box office openers? And this ties right back into what we were talking about earlier about Inside Out 2, as well as, I think, a question that hangs over the head of Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, studio and theater chain executives knew this year was going to be a challenge amid major tentpole delays. But May is already a historic flop. Even the fall guy is fleeing for home early. The article says no one could blame the box office for needing an imaginary friend right now. For the first time in more than a decade, excluding the worst part of the pandemic, no movie opening during the first 6 months of the year has come close to hitting the $100 million mark in its domestic launch. In 2023, for example, 3 films had accomplished this feat by the time Memorial Day rolled around, including the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which debuted to $146.3 million in April, on its way to earning $1.36 billion worldwide. To date, the top opening of the year belongs to the March tentpole Dune Part 2. It started off with $82.5 million, followed by $80 million for Godzilla vs. Kong New Empire. In fact, it's nearing the 1-year anniversary of the last film to open to $100 million or more, Barbie, which sunnily smiled its way to a $162 million debut in the latter half of July. It ultimately became the year's top grossing film with $1.45 billion. Now, what this does is it goes on to talk about the fact that there are so few films that might even cross the billion mark in 2024, you might narrow it down to maybe 2 movies left on the horizon that could do so. Now, maybe we could get Deadpool, but topping the $100 million mark on the opening weekend, most likely ones right now at this point, Moana 2 and Despicable Me, both kids' films. Nothing really on the horizon for adults, nothing on the horizon right now for the traditional blockbuster. Maybe that's the biggest news is the blockbuster has gone away. And that's a very strange thing. What I'm curious about from the panel, and anybody chime in on this,
Bro,
I'm beginning to wonder if cinemas can survive. I'm starting to wonder if movie theaters will even be alive on the end of this thing, because if we don't have blockbusters anymore, who's going to the movies? Panel, your thoughts?
bro, I think it's the economy. It's hitting everybody. I work at Red Lobster, which we had 100 stores close, which that was bad management, and the endless shrimp, which I know everyone enjoyed last summer. That's never happened again because the time we got. But it ain't just Red Lobster that's shutting down. I mean, stores. It's you got IHOP, you got Servo, the pizza dents in all the malls. They're going out of all the malls. It's just the economy right now is so bad that people are being choosy on what they spend their money on. So I think it's basically people are being careful about, okay, is this one got woke elements? I'm not going to spend my money in it. And that's what I think I think Hollywood needs to understand that if they take the politics out, like Godzilla X Kong was just a dumb, stupid monster film, but it had a lot of heart, and we need to get back to those films. And I think it's because of that people are just they don't want to go anymore. I even had Inside Out. I have nieces and nephews. I didn't want my sister, which she's under the 10 years old, to see this film because I heard the emotions there. And as I told my sister, I said, "Don't take her to see this. I don't want her to see." She said, "Yeah, I'm not taking her to see this film." So are people worried about what's in films nowadays because they're so smart about it? Yeah, it's just people don't got the money anymore, and I think we had to put out something good. That's just my opinion.
Fantastic, fantastic thoughts, panel. Any other any follow up on that?
I'll say this during the during or I should say before the pandemic, I was very selective about going to the theaters because before that time I just found movie tickets being too expensive. I think the whole movie going experience, I figured with the way theaters have become, like the really upscale, I had to really go out of my way to spend the kind of money required. And early on, streaming was a good alternative
Hmm.
because bang for the buck, I can get, I can watch a movie and I can have friends pitch in. Now, that changed when the pandemic happened, and I
Yep.
thought theaters were getting the raw end of the stick. At, when they reopened, I went and I wanted to support the theaters, especially the smaller guys. Thankfully, my budget theater up the street from me still open to this day. And at the same time, because they saw a need, they started showing modern movies, but I it's almost like in reverse now. I have to wait and see word of mouth wise what movie is worth my hard-earned dollars. It's like going full circle. It's like I'm waiting for word of mouth to say, "Go ahead and check out that movie," and I tune into guys like yourselves and
Culture Casino.
others. Yeah, go ahead.
Culture Casino. I like him. He's tells you if this movie's good or not.
Right. So it's just it's put
Sorry.
something good out there. I mean, I don't. Every film's got a message. Everything's got a message or a story that will communicate on different levels for different people. Now, as we can see, the message has been the forefront, and it's like that Dickinson poem where if you set the truth like a blinding light, it's just gonna I forgot what the phrasing of the poem was, but it's got to be done in a more circular fashion, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Instead of being so overt that I can't appreciate. There's no depth to a movie, a book, anything that's trying to peddle an agenda. Anyone can have an agenda, but you gotta have that creativity so I can at least appreciate your attempts at being intelligent, though I may not agree with it. I'll respect you more if you do a good job at communicating the message.
Really
I just
tremendous thoughts there, Lester.
yeah. So
Erica, what do you have to say about the cycle of going to the theaters? Do you think that's been broken by Hollywood now, and can it be repaired?
I think it's multifaceted. With the economy, a lot of wages aren't relevant to the current cost of living. My sister complains all the time. They're a family of five, they just can't afford it. There's also been a decline in stories and characters. Everything just seems to be copy and paste. It's sequels, it's prequels, it's continuing universes of stories, and it's gotten old. Um, I will say, um, on the cinema experience alone, kind of taking movies out of it, Germany tends to really, in my opinion, hit it well in their kinos. when there's a keynote next to our military installation, we actually enjoy going to because it's really upscale and classy. You feel like dressing up. There's a baby grand piano in the middle. They have a beautiful bar. You can order drinks in a very it just feels classy and upscale. And that's an experience I never had in the United States growing up until we were stationed in Germany. That is one element of movies experience. I am going to miss moving back to the United States. Um, and they do show a variety of stuff in Germany other than just the, I guess, blockbusters and what is being run in the US. They will also run like stage shows, I've noticed, like ballets and things of that nature, which I don't see very much of it in the US.
Yes, and Germany is very interesting because Germany is one of the places that renamed the character Anxiety for Inside Out 2 because they have enough sense to know that kids should not be cuddling with anxiety. Space Dave, let's wrap the conversation with your thoughts on perhaps what could Hollywood do to bring back audiences. Let's end on an optimistic note. What are we missing in theaters that would return folks to the seats there?
I think they've shown some good examples of what catches people's interest, whether it be Super Mario Brothers, franchises that are successful like that, and it's just good quality entertainment. Barbie, although I never watched it, Oppenheimer, those are examples of successes. So they have to be drawn back to what is successful and kind of move away. I think everybody's kind of talked about agenda here. Stay in the middle, write good stories. I think bringing down the budget's important. How are you ever going to make money if every movie has to make $1 billion? So they've really got to get control back of the studios, and that's going to happen because as Hollywood has gone on strike last year, they've what's that saying? Cut your nose off to spite your face. So they've really done that to themselves. So it's just going to reflect in probably, and as you guys have brought up, AI is going to step in and take jobs, which is necessary because the people that had the jobs struck at the very worst time in the history, I think, of any time. So, I mean, Hollywood has dug its own grave. Half of its body is now buried, and we're just waiting for it to shovel the rest on. But it can be saved by, I think the examples that I mentioned, and just realizing, we're not out for anything too fancy. We just want to be entertained again. And I do think theater prices are saturated. I think theaters are saturated. They've grown too fast when it comes to the theater. There's too many of them, and we've got to bring that number back down and prices down a bit, at least stabilize prices again. So that'll help.
That's right. That's right. And AI is likely to absolutely transform the entertainment landscape next year, folks. I think they're going to hold off on text to video until after the election, but the entire entertainment landscape changes next year. Don't doubt me on this. It's going to change dramatically in ways that most people, the average person, has no idea what's coming next year in terms of the transformation like we have never seen before. I mean it. And we've got a huge project here on the Pro Channel that we'll be announcing in the next few weeks that it's truly, truly a huge undertaking, and we can't wait to reveal it to you. All right, folks, we have come to the end. We hope that you have had a tremendously wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Folks, give thanks and be kind and ponder the reason for these days. And folks, on the way out the door, if you would be so kind, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Folks, we'll be back with the Pro Show every Tuesday, noon Eastern, so be there. We're ready to go. Happy summer, everyone. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and yes, keep having fun.